I the a-hole for telling my brother I told you so after he found out his son isn't his? When I, 22 female, was in high school, I had a boyfriend and I found out this girl at our school was sleeping with him while we were together. I hated her so much, especially because she talked about me in so many of their messages, saying she likes sneaking around with him knowing that he has a girlfriend, and constantly asking him if I think anything suspicious. Imagine my surprise when we graduate, and she starts dating my brother.
Traffic isn't that frequent here.
I couldn't believe his betrayal
Most of the
to date
traffic's through,
someone who did me dirty,
if anyone's
and
in
then speak to him for a while.
this lane, it's a turning only
But we
lane.
were able to reconcile, and I even developed a
It's really not that
relationship with
busy.
her after she got pregnant. When she did get pregnant, I had my suspicions if my brother
the channel's
was
called
even
Hitch.
the father, because
Everything
she had
about the
a
channel's about
history of being a
hitchhiking.
side chick and promiscuous. I didn't say anything at first, until one of my guy friends
hitchhiking?
tells me she's been hooking up with one of his cousins, overlapping when she started seeing my brother. He even sent proof.
Trying to figure out
When I showed it to my brother, he told me I was a psycho liar who never liked her, and was trying to get them to break up. I told him that it's true. I don't like her. But that doesn't change the fact that I had Tinder screenshots during the beginning of their relationship after they made it official, and she cheated. We got into a huge argument where I told him to get a paternity test, since the timeline she slept with the other guy would be when she conceived. And she told him that he needs to cut me off because I'm being toxic during her pregnancy, and he did. He asked me to apologize to her so she could let us be cool again. So I did to appease him.
I'm in the middle of a city.
Recently it came out that
coffee?
back
Yes.
in late
You like
May,
coffee?
my brother and her split up,
hope you
and
do.
she
Then we have
left the
something in common.
apartment for
We
a
should
few
date.
days. And when she came back, she took their son and told my brother it's over, and proceeded to move into another man's house. They ended up getting back together and she moved back in. But come to find out, the other man, who is the suspected father, was the man she had ran away with and then moved in with temporarily. And that they filed a paternity test for
I don't
him
have
through
any
the
time.
court,
I got less
and
than an hour
he's
to
the
the
father.
sunset.
Once it was
I guess the sun's
established,
about to go
she
behind
moved
the
out
thing.
again
Yeah.
and took my nephew last
Okay,
week.
we're in Melbourne.
The other
for
man
another
is
night.
now wanting my brother to
I don't hitchhike
relinquish
at night.
rights so he can get on the birth
The
certificate.
sun's setting as we speak.
My brother
essentially.
came over to the house and broke down sobbing and told us, since he hid everything.
That's wonderful.
I guess her moving in with him again and establishing him as the father of the estate was
Happy
his breaking
days.
point. During this,
Princess Diary
he turned to
safety
me and
camp.
says
Probably not
I
in
should
the middle
have
of
warned him
Melbourne.
more and not let her isolate him. And I said I did, and he says I could have done more. I got upset and said it's his fault, since he
Interesting.
knew
No
she was
plans.
unfaithful and cut me off when I told him. And it's his fault. He
Right, since we
forced
ran
me
out
to
of
be
time
kind to
here.
her to have access to him or the baby. He ran out crying, and my mom says I'm a major a-hole. And
It's a
should
beautiful
have
day here in
blamed him
Australia.
and kicked him while he's
Yeah.
down after he tried to blame
Absolutely
me. Now for the top comments.
So
Not
many
the
people come
a-hole.
in here and be like,
Truth
man,
hurts,
Australia
and you were
sucks in the
only
winter. I'm
standing
like,
up
oh,
for
this is
yourself.
perfect.
He
High of
cannot
15
accept
degrees, low of
responsibility
like
for
6
his
to
poor
8 degrees.
judgment, and is
It's
looking to
ideal.
blame you for
If I
it.
could find a nice place to
Just
camp,
like
I
he
would be
tried to
super
blame
happy
you for
about
bringing
this.
the truth to his attention while he was still with her. And shame on him for dating someone who was so awful to his sister. You don't tell someone who's on edge, I told you so. He came to them during a mental breakdown. Picking apart his rant isn't a time or place. They moved out a week ago. Poor guy probably hasn't
Wait, right now
registered a
it
shop.
sucks. Yeah.
Then he shouldn't have turned on the one person to try to help him. Sucks to suck. Not the a-hole. What a terrible brother. Your mother sucks too. If he's down, it's his own damn fault.
Camping in the city
He
is
betrayed
difficult.
you, want no contact with you, and is now blaming you? Why the heck are you still
I've
in
seen some
contact with him?
anti-camping signs
I
as
don't
well
know
around like
contact
parks
until
and
he
stuff like that.
groveled with an apology. You could have lit yourself on fire while doing the Watusi, and he wouldn't have believed you. I cannot fathom sleeping with someone who wronged my sister, let alone how she did it by being the side chick. The visible from space sign that she has no loyalty to anyone was right there, and OP's brother still chose to let himself be fleeced. Not the a-hole. Your mother seems to have it
I
nice
just said
and
like
easy
I'm out
here,
of daytime.
delegating responsibility to you to do all the science
So,
talking to your
pretty much
brother,
done.
and blaming you when you don't give it a proper babying.
We're in Melbourne.
A mother
Another night.
perhaps should put up with your brother's mercurial temperament, but you are not responsible for his feelings. Drop your mother's shaming like a bad habit. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my brother he was an idiot to spring a surprise wedding on his girlfriend? To give my post context, I'll say that I was born and raised in the US. but I've lived in Australia since I was 19, and I am no longer a U.S. citizen. I only have Australian
Fine. Oh, I'm
citizenship.
well aware of that.
Before the pandemic,
Just annoyed
I
at the
used to travel
problems I've
back to
had.
St. Louis to visit my family at least once every other year, if not more. I haven't seen them in person since 2019, and I was planning to go visit soon now that the pandemic has calmed down. One of my brothers told me he was getting married and they were having the wedding in Cancun.
No,
He's
when
my
I asked to
brother.
look in a city,
So, of course,
they're not
I was
gonna
going
know.
to attend
Good
his
place to
wedding
camp.
fight good. Most of my family was going to be there, so I would get to see them,
just
and
lost
I would
the fuel
also
cap,
get
I
to
think.
finally meet my brother's fiancée. When we got to Cancun, I spent the first day seeing my family and catching up. My brother
In a
has
city,
his fiancée
locals
was
aren't gonna
doing
really know where to
last-minute
camp, I don't think.
preparations, and I would get to meet her
fuel cap.
tomorrow. I will also say that at this time, no one in my
catch a tram
family
train
was
to the
acting
outskirts?
strange, and I had no
usually,
idea
but
what was
it's possible
coming.
to hitchhike from the
The next
city
day, my
itself,
brother brought his
so that's why I
fiancée
want
to
to come here,
lunch.
but then this
I
first
did
spot,
get to meet her
well, we had a
sort
ton
of,
of technical
and this
problems,
is
so I
where
just sat there
everything
trying to
went to
sort those
hell.
out for a
I
long
found
time.
out she had no
The
idea
first
about
spot
the
had
wedding.
cars parked there that aren't
She
supposed to be
thought this
parked
was
there,
a regular
so people can
trip
pull
for
over.
just her
And
and
this
my
next spot
brother.
kind of sucks,
She
and the
didn't know
sun's
my
setting
family or
as we
any
speak.
figures would be there too. My brother planned a surprise wedding. The kicker is
If I
that,
could chase them
although
down,
they talked about
I
marriage,
would,
they were
but
not
I don't
even
think I could
engaged.
do that.
The wedding didn't end up happening, and she was obviously upset. For her side, my brother had invited her mom and stepfather and her stepbrother. She was angry that not only did my brother spring the wedding on her, but that he didn't invite other people who are important to her, such as her dad and her best friend and others. My brother told her he didn't tell them because they would have wrecked the surprise, and warned her. There was a public fight, and I think more behind closed doors.
And
All I
no
know is
cardboard.
that
Yeah, what
she left the next
is
day and
going
there was
on
no
with
wedding,
today?
and the rest of the trip was really
Disaster.
awkward. I told my brother he was an idiot to spring a whole wedding on his girlfriend without them even being engaged. Everyone in my
I don't want to
family
use a
knew
whiteboard because
and
I
went
like using
along with
cardboard
it.
because it's multi-purpose.
Maybe I
I can
have
also
been
use
away
it as
from
a
my
sleeping
family
pad
for
to
too
protect my
long,
tent should it
but
be
I
prickly.
think this was complete stupidity.
And a
Now
sleeping
my
pad should
brother
I
is
function
mad
my
at me
sleeping
for
pad because I
calling
do
him
that
an
on
idiot
occasion.
and saying it was a stupid idea because
And
he
then I like
thought
the
he was being
reusability of
romantic
cardboard so
and
I can have a
thoughtful.
northeast,
He
southwest,
hasn't talked to
all
me
different
since the
directions
trip
and signs.
ended. Do you all think I'm the a-hole for what I said? Thanks. Not the a-hole.
Yeah.
Your family went along with us, which was stupid on their part. Now he's mad at you for saying the truth? He needs to grow up and apologize to his
It's legal
girlfriend.
to sleep in your car and
Seriously, this.
See,
Who
I
does
think
a
that's just
surprise
so
wedding?
fair. You can
Even if you were
sleep in a
engaged,
car.
the surprise wedding is an
can't just
awful
sleep
idea
in
if
some
it's not
grass
something
somewhere?
both people
Come on.
planned. Not the a-hole. You never, ever
People
take
tend
the
to wear.
decision away from a partner as how
I
that
said
one
I'm
singular
gonna be in
day will
Melbourne
proceed.
tonight because the
I've
sun's
been
setting
married
as
for
we speak.
28 years, and I still remember
pretty nice,
significant
actually. It's pretty
portions of
beautiful.
the day. There's no way a partner should be
didn't
happy
expect
not
this dude
having
to be
any
here.
choice in how the day
What are you doing
proceeds.
here, man?
Calling him an idiot is tame compared to what he actually is. I think it's more than just surface
What are you
level
doing?
stuff, like decorations or whatever. It's like, hey, I'm going to pressure this person into a legal situation
so I
without
can sit and
caring
figure out
about
what I
what
wanna
they
do.
think about it. It's creepy AF. I don't even have to read this, and I will agree with you. This surprise wedding trend is going to be the leading cause of divorce in America. Who in their right mind thinks this is a good idea? I have not seen one success story yet of a surprise wedding. It falls into a whole new realm of stupidity. I saw one of those true crime shows where the husband did a surprise wedding, and all the friends and family thought
It
it
was
was
really
so
well done.
romantic. Shocker. The husband ended up being abusive and controlling, and he ended up unaliving the wife. That was the first time ever hearing someone doing it in real life. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to pay my brother to do odd jobs around my parents' new house that I paid for? This is a rather complicated situation, and I am at my wit's end. I am in too deep personally, and cannot decide which route is the correct route to take and stick to. My parents, 1773, have fallen on hard times in the last few years. They've never been well off, but they have lived comfortably and have always been frugal. They made a bad investment, which basically cost them everything, including a big farmhouse on a few acres of land where we all grew up. Two brothers, 45 and 15, and me, female.
Just show you how long it'll take to do the
One
whole
brother,
island.
45,
Well,
lives
we're
in the
doing the
same
whole
town
island.
as my parents. He was in a very serious accident when he was around 30 and had a massive frontal
yeah.
brain injury.
Did
And
do
was
the
in
whole
coma
loop and-
for a few months. He has
3
since
months.
recovered to the level of being a fully functioning member
I
of
did
society. Now
Gold
married
Coast to
with 3
Perth in
kids.
3 weeks, but like
His
that's
wife
super
works from
rushed.
home, and he
I
is
wouldn't
a
want to do that
handyman.
again.
He obviously doesn't have a set income as he gets paid for what he does when he gets a job. He relies heavily on money from my
You
mom,
say the sun
and she
setting?
feels
Yeah.
sorry for him and his family. The problem starts here, because my parents don't have enough to help themselves, let alone my brother. A year ago, they received a final notice to leave their property, and had literally nowhere to go. They have no retirement fund. I spoke to my brother, 50, who lives out of the country, and we decided together that we would purchase a property for my parents and give them a monthly allowance to take care of their basic needs. When my brother, 45, came to hear of this, he suggested we buy another acre and build a house so he could get one too. This was not part of the plan, and we found a lovely small retirement home for my parents. When the time came to sign the contract and pay the mortgage, brother 50 backed out. We had obviously already discussed the purchase with my parents, and my husband and I decided to still go ahead with the purchase. We'll live out of the country, by the way, and stick to what we had agreed with my parents. They are, after all, the people who raised me and made me who I am today.
And then you're there for
We
a few
have
days,
had to
and
cut
you're like, okay,
costs
well,
a lot in
it's
our
more of the
own
same.
house, but it is worth it to
Yeah,
make
it's on
sure my
rocks.
parents are okay. Fast forward, and my parents were settled in a new
Yes,
house.
right now.
There are a lot of odd jobs that need doing. Curtains need to be put up, frames need to be put on the walls, garden needs to be
Philippines?
cleaned, etc. Brother 45 is happy to
My
come and help with
experience
all these
of
odd
currently
jobs.
sitting on the rock
Only
says there's not
if he
many
gets
ants on
paid
this
by
rock
the hour.
in particular.
Now I feel like he sees my husband and I
it's
as the
just a-
gravy
I don't
train.
know, I'm getting
It wants to
tonight.
hop on board as it knows we are funding this. I'm just telling the heavily condensed
haven't
version
thought
here,
that far.
but I feel like we are paying for everything,
I miss,
while the other two brothers happily watch and do nothing. So am I the a-hole for not wanting to pay my brother
Time
to do
mess up
these
affect you.
tasks around the house?
Everything
Not that
breaking
my
on the
husband
stream
and I would
affected me,
happily
so
do it, but
taking a
we're a
long time to get
10-hour
that out.
flight away. Now for the comments. Not the
And
a-hole.
then the hitchhiking
That
spot is
sucks.
going to having
That's
cars
stuff
already
that
parked
kids
there.
do for their parents.
Mess things up.
It's one thing if it
Use
was
live view setup?
specialized
No.
professional
That's
tasks,
why
like
I'm
plumbing,
about to switch
electrical,
to
or
new
even
setup, and
setting
that's why
up
there's
complicated
a
computer
donation goal,
/ TV / audio stuff. I get
which I
that they'd
usually don't
likely
really have.
charge other people for doing those tasks, but charging mom and dad to hang your own family photos is low. I'm sorry. Thank you. Slowly wrapping my head around this situation. I appreciate your feedback. I hope your parents' house is not in your parents' name. Agreed, because you know your brother will somehow turn that into, I did everything in this house to make it habitable / comfortable / homey. I should inherit it for helping out so much. Not
Ever
the
camped on top of a
a-hole.
roof before?
Suggestion?
No, I've never done that.
Don't mix family and business. If brother doesn't wish to offer help, then engage a professional you can
Okay.
trust and pay them. Exactly. OP, you can't force your brothers to contribute or be decent people. But you can sure as heck stop
What's
paying
near
one
me?
of them for being an a-hole. I know you're far away, but since it's your hometown, I hope you have some connections you can use to find someone local who's capable of doing these pretty basic
What a start
tasks.
test track.
Like,
First
this
day,
could be a neighbor's teenager
stuff's
who wants
supposed
to
to be
earn some
delivered, it
cash
got
over the
delayed.
summer.
Can't
Those
do
aren't
that. Okay, little
specialized
stream is fine.
tasks.
Second
Not
day,
the a-hole, of course.
it takes a while to get everything set
Last
up in the
story.
morning, but we
Am I
do
the
get a
a-hole
start with
for
enough
naming my
time to,
baby the
like,
same name
get
as
out
a
and do
child
something.
from a previous
Then
marriage?
everything breaks.
I, 39 female and
But then we
husband,
still, like,
have
work our way
recently
out,
had our
recover,
5th
get up
baby
to the
together.
spot,
I
find the
also have a
hitchhiking
daughter,
spot.
16 female,
Hitchhiking
from my
spot is
previous
occupied.
marriage. If you have read my previous
My car's just
AITA
parked there.
post, you
It's
will
not
know
supposed to
that
be.
my daughter hates her younger siblings and has
we
gone low
walked to another spot,
contact
spot
with
kinda
us
sucks in the
since I
sunset.
announced this baby. She's currently living with her friend, but only texts on rare occasion. Her name was a character of
First
her
day
and
for
her
like
dad's
Kit Kats.
favorite
I
TV show.
refused this, but
My ex
buy a
died
Kit
when
Kat
my
for
daughter was
$15.
8, and although the name was my ex's choice, I have always thought it was a pretty name. When I had our latest daughter, I sent my elder daughter a text announcing it and included that they share the same first name. My husband's great aunt also has the same name, so I did not see it as a problem. I assumed she had no issue, considering she does not associate with the family at all anymore, and would likely rarely see the baby. However, she was extremely angry, and eventually told me to never talk to her again. I later received an angry message from her friend's father, who she is currently living with. I don't see them sharing a name as a problem, because not only will they not see each other often, but they also have different last names. So am I the a-hole? I would also like to add that the names have different spellings. And since most of you are calling me an a-hole, I would like to add some further information. My eldest daughter's name is Dana after Dana Scully, whereas my youngest is named Dana. We also been using the nickname Dave for the youngest, so no, not exactly the same. My husband's great aunt also shares this name, and it's not particularly unique. And they don't have the same middle name. As this was our 5th baby together, it was hard to find baby names, and this was one we could both agree on. Husband and eldest are not close. And especially since she is no longer living with us, they don't talk at all. I have to be clear when I say that I did not name my baby the same as my eldest to offend her in any way and did not expect such an argument. You're the a-hole. You're practically replacing your daughter by naming your new baby by the exact same name. And of course, she will see it like that, especially since you hardly talk. No wonder she hardly texts. The low contact was over a previous issue that I have posted about. And I think the fact we hardly talk should make it less of a problem. They barely associate. It's also not exact because different spelling. You gave up on her instead of getting her help when she said if you had more kids she'd off herself? That's not a massive red flag to you? You're the a-hole. Big time. I don't understand how you can be so blind to your eldest daughter's feelings. Or is this lack of empathy and caring on your part the main reason she left? From your post, it sounds like you've already written her off as a daughter. She perceives this as a move by you to replace her with a new child. It appears to her that you want to negate her entire existence. Her name is extra special to her because it's a link to her late father. You giving the name to another child is such a slap in the face to her. I don't blame her for being furious and hurt. It seems as though you don't love her at all. To say that I don't love my eldest is ridiculous. The name is spelled differently, and she also has other links to her father. Her middle name is her father's name, and she took his last name. Her first name is not extremely unique either. I have told her repeatedly that this is not an attempt to replace her at all, but I'm guessing she still doesn't recognize this. You are not here to hear how wrong you are, as evidenced by your argumentative attitude. You're here to have someone tell you you're right, and she's overreacting.
It's different.
I
Actually,
smell
people
an
donate
arc.
specifically for that.
You're the a-hole, especially after reading your previous post about alienating your daughter.
No one's like,
You
here's $15,
sound
go get a
incredibly
Kit Kat.
selfish and unempathetic.
And no, don't donate $15
Not
because
only
I'm not
did you
gonna go get a Kit
parentify
Kat.
your teenage daughter,
close anymore.
but you drove her out of your home. And now you're essentially sending the message that she's been replaced. Who on earth gives two of their children the same name, different spelling or not? You need to get a reality check and actually start caring about the happiness of your children. Get some therapy or something. Your poor daughter.
Sport beef over Kit Kat. Yeah, there's nothing like world